All right, gather around, my digital denizens. Today we're diving deep into a phenomenon that lives rent-free in the apartment complex of our minds. Ever replay a conversation in your head, dissecting each word, each pause, each emoticon, like you're solving a Rubik's Cube? Come on, don't be shy, we've all been there. Picture this. Your mind is a theater, spotlight on center stage. What's playing? Yes, that awkward conversation you had last week, or was it last year? Time's a blur when you're the director, actor, and especially the critic of this ongoing mental drama. Why do we do it? Why do we rewind and play these conversations in our heads like a broken record? Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Now think about anxiety as that loud party neighbor, always popping in when you least expect it. You're replaying conversations because anxiety's banging on the door of your perception, making you hyper-aware of your words, your gestures, your typos in that text message. And don't even get me started on overthinking. If anxiety is the loud neighbor, overthinking is the homeowners association, setting up rules and scenarios that are just too complicated to live by. The joys of cognitive biases. Have you ever noticed how we love to marinate in negativity? It's like we're culinary artists and negativity is our favorite spice. We replay conversations, focusing on that one awkward pause or that slightly weird laugh, completely ignoring the 99% of the conversation that was fine. More than fine. All right, quick show of hands. Okay, not literal hands, stay with me here. Who's heard of mindfulness? No, it's not some hipster fad. It's the ancient art of saying, hey thoughts, cool story, but I'm busy living in the now. Trust me, your thoughts will get the message eventually. And don't worry, you don't have to sit in a lotus position to be mindful. You can be mindful while taking a shower or eating an apple. Just be present and give that apple the attention it deserves. Okay, let's get tactical for a moment. Sometimes we need to change the channel, switch the station, whatever metaphor you prefer. Physical exercise, painting, or even just spacing out while looking at clouds, these can be your go-to distraction techniques. Just like you wouldn't keep watching a bad movie, you don't have to keep replaying a negative conversation. Switch it up. The glorious grounding techniques. Imagine if we could pull the emergency brake when our thoughts go off the rails. Oh wait, we can. Simple things like touching a textured surface or sniffing a strong scent can snap you back into the here and now. It's like having a reset button for your brain. Neat, huh? But folks, and this is crucial, sometimes the cycle of replaying conversations can be more than just a quirk. Sometimes it's a red flag on a much deeper issue that needs professional guidance. And there's no shame in that. The bravest thing you can do is to seek help when you need it. Because we often find ourselves replaying conversations in our minds, dissecting each word, each pause, each expression. Ever been there? Of course you have. It's like having a never-ending theater show in your head, except you're both the star and the critic. Not always a 5-star performance, eh? The blog we're diving into today is a wonderful recipe book of sorts. It offers a blend of exercises, reflections, and yes, some serious adulting lessons on how to deal with this mental chatter. The 5-4-3-2-1 technique, for instance. It's the senses waltz. Imagine focusing on 5 things you can see, 4 you can touch, and so on. It's as if life turns into a scavenger hunt for sanity, and you're both the player and the prize. Brilliant, isn't it? But let's switch lanes for a second. What if I told you diving deep into why we replay conversations could be as fascinating as, let's say, unraveling a mystery novel? The blog tells us that replaying conversations might stem from deeper issues like anxiety, low self-esteem, or a yearning for perfection. But wait, have you ever thought about the flip side? Could it be that replaying conversations is also our mind's way of rehearsing for a better future interaction? Our brain's unique way of saying, hey, let's prepare for the Oscars of daily life. It's like your mind is your ultimate wingman, rehearsing pickup lines before you even step into the social arena. Let's talk about journaling, your paper therapist. The blog encourages us to write down conversations we can't seem to shake off. Write the good, the bad, and the ugly. But hey, what if we could also make this a comedy sketch in our journals? Picture this. You write down your most awkward conversations and then give them hilarious dialogue tags. Instead of, she looked disappointed, how about, she looked like she'd just bitten into an unripe banana? Makes the whole ordeal feel like a Saturday Night Live episode, doesn't it? The blog also touches on cultivating a positive mindset, almost like tending to a garden inside your brain, planting seeds of self-compassion, watering them with self-care. Isn't it time we became the gardeners of our own souls? We're so busy offering love to others, but what about that person staring back at you in the mirror? When was the last time you gave them a standing ovation? And I mean really stood up and clapped for the person you are today. Progress, it's never a straight line, is it? The blog tells us it's okay to have setbacks. You may stumble, but why view that as a fall when it could just be a little dance move on your journey? Why not tango with your shortcomings? And when all else fails, professionals are your sideline coaches. If replaying conversations makes you feel like you're stuck in a never-ending episode of a soap opera, maybe it's time to call in the director for a script change. Techniques like cognitive behavioral therapy or mindfulness-based cognitive therapy are not just jargons, they're tools, almost like magic wands that can rewrite your mental script. Now imagine if we could channel that mental energy into something transformative, something that not only brings us peace but helps us grow. Intrigued? Well, let's embark on this captivating journey together, shall we? First off, the 5-4-3-2-1 technique and deep breathing, sensory-based strategies to ground you, like a majestic tree whose roots delve deep into the earth. But the real question, what fuels this constant mulling? Is it that we're all poets deep inside, composing tragic soliloquies of what-ifs and if-onlys? Or perhaps could it be anxiety, low self-esteem, or our pursuit of the ever-elusive perfection? Now, introspection is good, but too much can turn your mind into a labyrinth where the minotaur of self-doubt resides. You know, that voice saying, you've messed up again, challenge that, shatter those assumptions with the hammer of reality-based thinking. You're not a mind reader, are you? And then comes the art of journaling. The poetic outpouring of the soul onto paper. It's like taking a mental photograph of your thoughts, freezing them in time so you can study, learn, and yes, my friends, grow. Don't just focus on what went wrong. Look at what's right in your life. That's your armor, your resilience against the drudgery of replaying conversations. So, you've become a knight in shiny armor, but even the mightiest warriors have their soft spots. Self-compassion and self-care. Treat yourself as you would your best mate after they've had a tough day. Heck, you might be battling dragons of awkward conversations and foot-in-mouth moments, but remember, you're not alone in this crusade. Which brings me to resilience and coping mechanisms. Listen, Rome wasn't built in a day, and neither is your mental fortress. Focus on the bricks, not the wall. Set achievable goals, small victories to celebrate, like the rare moments you catch the subway right on time or the days you manage not to replay that one nagging conversation. And now let's talk about setbacks. Ever thought of them as surprise plot twists in your life's narrative? Instead of gasping in horror, lean into them. What can you learn? How will you rise like a phoenix from the ashes? Reframe those setbacks as opportunities to refine your dance moves, so to speak. Don't just recognize progress, throw a party for it. Reward yourself with a cup of your favorite coffee, a hike, or, 5 extra minutes in bed in the morning. Trust me, it works. Your brain loves these little trophies and will want more. That's positive reinforcement for you, my friends. But let's not forget, life isn't just about dodging pitfalls. It's a learning journey. Those conversations you replay, they're not failures, they're mini lessons, little pearls of wisdom in the oyster of life. Learn from them, grow from them, and move on. All right, here's the hard truth. Sometimes we might need a little more help, and that's okay. Picture yourself as an explorer sailing unknown waters. Wouldn't you want an experienced navigator to guide you through treacherous tides? That's where therapy or counseling comes into play. These professionals are your emotional cartographers, helping you map out the complexities of your mind. Think CBT and MBCT are the names of some indie bands? No. These are scientifically backed therapies. Cognitive behavioral therapy and mindfulness-based cognitive therapy are your compass and sextant, guiding you back to your true north whenever you drift. But let's close this out with a universal truth. One size doesn't fit all. Your journey is as unique as your fingerprint, or dare I say, your dance moves. The key, my friends, is to find your rhythm, your coping strategies, your life hacks. Now, we've all heard the classics. Just stop overthinking, or why don't you just relax, as if it's as simple as flipping a switch. Ah, if only. So how do we get off this mental merry-go-round? Buckle up, my friends. We're about to become merry-go-round escape artists. First off, have you ever considered that replaying conversations in your head is like being stuck in a mental Groundhog Day? Ah, yes, the movie where Bill Murray relives the same day over and over. You see, our minds are pretty good at this. They take a simple conversation and loop it until it's a sprawling epic, complete with heroes, villains, and dramatic cliffhangers. Your mind's a filmmaker, give it an Oscar. But what if I told you, understanding why you're in this loop is half the battle? Anxiety, overthinking, rumination, cognitive biases. These are the usual suspects, the cast of characters in your head drama. So imagine if we could just, audition new characters like mindfulness and self-compassion. How would that change the story? Now let's hit the pause button for a second. Mindfulness, for instance, isn't just some new age jargon. It's the mental equivalent of stopping to smell the roses, except the roses are your thoughts. And speaking of stopping, don't you think the distraction technique is like hitting the emergency brake on the thought train before it derails? Picture this. You're looping that awkward conversation with your boss, and then, wham, you distract yourself with a walk, a workout, or heck, even by smelling roses. The idea is to shift gears, redirect your focus. Ah, but here's a twist. What if this habit of replaying conversations is like an old mixtape your mind keeps playing? In that case, perhaps we need to record over it. You're the DJ of your mind, so put on some fresh tracks. I'm talking about challenging your assumptions, grounding yourself, and yes, even journaling. Ah, the pen is mightier than the loop. But, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Could this be a sign of a more serious mental health condition? Well, you know what they say. When in doubt, seek it out. Therapy is not a dirty word, people. It's a sandbox where you can play with your thoughts under the supervision of someone trained to not build sandcastles of doom. And just a little nudge here. Be gentle with yourself, okay? Life's a marathon, not a sprint. Every step you take away from that merry-go-round is progress. Imagine stepping off that merry-go-round and into a landscape filled with opportunities to learn, grow, and dance to your fresh tracks. How's that for a mental picture? Imagine your setback is a billboard that says, "Hey, something needs your attention." That's your cue to reassess what triggered the replay this time. Did you ignore your emergency brake, or did you forget to switch to those fresh tracks? The clues are there if you're willing to look. But let's be honest, finding those clues might require more than your own sleuthing skills. Enter the world of professional help, counseling, and therapy. It's like inviting Sherlock Holmes into your mental screenplay. Cognitive behavioral therapy, mindfulness-based cognitive therapy. These are not just buzzwords, they're your personal toolkit. Kind of like having a Swiss Army knife for the mind, wouldn't you say? And let's not ignore those small victories, shall we? Picture each victory as a glowing star in the night sky. One star alone might not light up the whole sky, but a constellation, that's a celestial masterpiece. Each star represents a strategy that worked, a moment of self-compassion, a day without a replay. Imagine gazing up at a sky filled with your victories. How spectacular would that be? So you see, we're all in this quest for a calmer mind and a more peaceful life. Your journey, my journey, our journey is paved with ups and downs, turns and twists. But every step is progress. And remember, progress isn't linear. Sometimes it looks like a dance, 2 steps forward, 1 step back, a little cha-cha-cha with your thoughts. But what a dance it is, full of lessons, realizations, and yes, even a few fancy moves. So are you ready to step off that merry-go-round and dance to the rhythm of your fresh tracks? I know you are. You're not just breaking a habit. You're composing a new life symphony, and the first note starts with you. Because here's the thing. We often get fixated on that elusive destination, inner peace, a mind devoid of ruminations. But how about we shift our perspective? What if the real treasure is in the journey itself? Think about it. Imagine if your life was a magnificent tapestry. Each thread, whether vibrant or dull, would contribute to that grand design. Would you really want to pull out the threads of setbacks, struggles, or replayed conversations? Or would you see their value in creating the intricate details that make your life uniquely yours? This is our collective wake-up call. A moment to redefine progress and success. Instead of always focusing on the finish line, let's celebrate the courage it takes to simply show up to the starting line. There's courage in seeking help, courage in facing our fears, and an immense courage in admitting, hey, I'm not okay, but I'm working on it. And as you work on it, remember you're not alone. We're in this grand tapestry of life together. Our threads might not weave the same pattern, but they share the same fabric of human experience, woven with love, resilience, and endless possibilities. So how about a pact? Let's promise to be kinder to ourselves, to embrace both our lights and shadows, to see each replayed conversation not as a stumble, but as a dance move in this rhythm called life. So, until our next cerebral rendezvous, remain insatiably curious, eternally excited, and rigorously informed. And always remember you are but one revelation away from a life more extraordinary. Cheers to your unquenchable spirit for growth and wisdom.